Spring security, role and authority. In this tutorial you will understand role and authority, the difference between role and authority. You will learn using in-memory user details manager and password encoder to manage users. You will learn how to restrict access to endpoint based on authority. You will also learn how to restrict endpoint based on role. And in the last, we will learn how to implement Authentication Success Handler to redirect to URL based on the user authority. And then here is the diagram, roles and authority, and this key represent the roles and authority using these colors. And here we have the role as admin and manager, which include a set of authorities which include read, write, delete, update. Roles are often used to group related authorities together. You can assign roles to users, and those roles in turn define the set of authorities a user possesses. For example, you might assign role admin. Here we have role admin, and under this role admin we have a set of authorities which include read, write, delete, update. And we also have the manager role, which include the authorities write and read. And for the authorities represent a fine-grained permission. You can check whether a user has a specific authority to perform a particular action or access some resources. Okay, this is the difference between role and authority, and you will see this in action in the tutorial. Let's create a new project. Go to create project, Spring Starter project. Next, now we will connect to the Spring startspring.io. So here is the name of the Spring Security tutorial. We have this as the Spring Security tutorial, but I will change this name to the Spring Security role and authority. Role authority. Okay, so and I will leave this description as Spring Security tutorial, the package coding techniques, and also the group coding techniques. I will be using Maven in this project. Okay, this is the name and the description. So let's add the dependency. Okay, I will use Spring Web dependency, and then Spring Security, then Spring Boot Dev Tool. Okay, this is the dependencies I will be using. Spring Dev Tool for the live reload. So let's click finish. Okay, now our project is getting started. So here is the project, but it does not finish starting. Okay, so our project, I think, is okay. Here is our starter class. Now the next thing we will do is to run the application to make sure our dependency is working and all we have set is in place. Okay, let's run this by clicking on the starter class, then run as Spring Boot app. Open the panel. So here is our project. Okay, this is the password generated by the Spring Security default configuration, and The next thing we will do is to add our own, which we will get rid of this password and have the user and the password that we defined in the custom configuration. Okay, let's go next. Okay, we will create our custom configuration, and this tutorial will focus on the role and authority. For more on the Spring Security tutorial, you will check on my playlist and you will have a lot of tutorial on the Spring Security, but now we will focus on the role and authority in this tutorial. So I will create a class, and the name of the class will be security config. But before creating this class, let me create a package and name the package configuration. Okay, now let's name the package configuration. So inside this package, we will create new class, and the name of the class will be security config. So here is the class. The first thing we will do is to annotate the class with @configuration. As you see, the live reload, which is Spring DevTool, is running or reloading. So let me close this like this, and we will add the configuration. Okay, here is the @configuration. So the first thing we will do is to have a bin of user detail service, and inside this bin we will manage the inside this method we will manage the users. Public user detail service, Okay, now we will use the Spring Security implementation of user detail service, which is user in-memory user details manager, to manage the users, and we will add 2 users. So now let's have in-memory user details manager, and here is the name equal to new in-memory user details manager. So here is the suggestion, and this name is too long, so I will cut it short by using the var keyword. So it is okay now, and let me return this user details manager. Okay, so that is not the only thing we will do. We have to define a user using the Spring Security user class and user details interface. So now let me add the user details as a type. Okay, and then let me name this user1, so that we will have user2 in the next. Okay, now I will use the class from the Spring Security core user details, and using this class we will add our username with username, and I will pass the name here Aliyu, and then let me add the password and the password 1234. So the next thing we will do, we will start with the authority. I will add the authority. Here we have 3 authorities over. Okay, let me use the string. Okay, I will add this as width. Then the last thing is to call the build method. So here is the user one definition, and then let me duplicate this and name it user2. I will change the authority and the name. Let me add this to right, and then this as a name Yasir. Okay, so this is not the only thing. We just define two users here, and we need to link these users to our user details manager that we have. So let's link this user details manager dot, here we have create users. So this it added user one, so we need to duplicate this to add the second user 2 and user 1. So let me save this, and the next thing we will do is to add the pin of the password encoder. So before adding the password encoder, we need to know which password we are using, because there is different implementation of the password encoder by crypt password encoder, script password encoder, and we have no out password encoder. So we will use no out password encoder because we are using a plain text, and it is the implementation of the plain text. Let me add it, add bin. So public password encoder, this method will return the Spring Security implementation of this interface password encoder. So as I said, we will return the no op password encoder. Here is the no op password encoder. We are using this because we have a plain text, and this is the implementation for the plain text. Okay, let me add this, and this class has no constructor, so we will call the get instance method, and that is all. So this class, as you see, is deprecated. That is because it is not class, it is not because of the version, it is because that this will not be used for the production ready application. It is only used for testing. Okay, so because there is no way you can store the password, plain text password, in the database in the production ready application, you have to use by crypt password encoder. Okay, so here is what we have now, and the next thing is we will have to access which a bin admin security filter chain, public security filter chain. Okay, security filter chain, and we will use HTTP security for endpoint authorization. HTTP security, HTTP. Okay, so let's add this. So I will use this method HTTP, and then we have a method authorize request. Okay, let me give the lambda request. This is the lambda variable request, and now we can access the method. So I will be using the any request method, and if we call this method any request, the next thing if it is authenticated or permit all, it will apply to all the requests in the application. So we are now telling that all the requests, and then let me permit this request, permit all. So all the requests that we have permit all, I am permitting this now because we want to test the application first before adding the authority to use the authority to authorize the access. So now, and I also need the form login dot form login. We have the HTTP basic, and we also have the form login. I will be using form login. We can access using the form, given the password and the username. So let me add the lambda variable as well here, name it form. And what I will do now, I will use the get class method. So because I am not using any method to start working with the form login, so I will just return the class. So on the next thing, we will return the HTTP dot build, and this method will throw an exception. Okay, let add throws declaration. Okay, this is all for the configuration for now. First, let's test the application, and we will now change, we will later change the permit all. So the application we have. Okay, let me rerun the application. Okay, so our application started on the port 8080. So before going to this port, we have to define endpoint like hello. So let's go to the package and create new class, and let's name this user controller. Okay, and annotate this with @race controller. @race controller consists of both @race body and @response body and controller. So the method we will define here in the browser, we will have the return value of the method. So that is why we are using @race controller. And in case of we want to return an HTML form, we will use @controller. So now let me call @getMapping and have the endpoint as hello, and then here is the method public string hello, and then this method will return, it was return hello world. Okay, so this is what we have so far. And if we save the application, now let's go to the browser and accesses this part. We have permit all, and if we check that it is working, we will go back to the configuration and add some method for the authorization using the authority. So now let's go to and try to access using hello. So we access this without the form. Okay, now let's go back to the configuration. So here, so to give the permission to only the user with the read the method, we will use the method has authority. Has authority, and then we will pass read. Okay, here is the browser. Now let's access the hello. This form now. So that is because we need to provide the password and the username, and we are giving the access only to the read authority, and the read authority here is the Aliyu, which is the user one. So now let's try to first access with this one. So we will not get access to this with the user 2. Now let's access this with the user 2. User 2, we have this name followed by the password 1234. Okay, you see we have access to localhost was denied. Now let's go back and change the name Aliyu and then use the 1234. Okay, we have access to the path. So because we have no endpoint for the path slash like this, now let's go back and access our hello. Okay, you see we have access to this hello because the user is already authenticated. Now let me log out the user. To log out this user, so here the user is signed out. Okay, now the next thing, we will also have another method, which is, let me delete this. The method is has any authority, and in this method we will pass to our home method. So let me break this like this so that you can see clearly. With the has any authority, we will pass read, and then we can also pass write. Okay, once a user have either read or write, he will access the endpoint. Now let me add another to this. We like delete. Okay, so we have this write and read. Both the user have the write and read, and in this case both the user will be authenticated. So let me save these changes and try again. So let me access the hello part. Let me start with the Aliyu 1234 sign in. We have signed into the let me log out and sign it with the other user. Log out. Okay, let me sign it with the user, which is user 21234. As well, we get access, and because we did not specify the endpoint at first, so you see we have access to the hello world. Okay, now let me log out the user 2. Okay, so we sign out the user 2. So now in this case, both the user have either read and or write. Okay, that is why using this method we get access. But imagine if we change this to delete, so the user 2 will not access this. Let us try with the credential of the user 2. So hello, this is the credential of the user 2. So the user 2 access was denied. Okay, now this is the two method we use, and the next thing we will do is to try the role. Okay, now even that this method is authorities method, we specified authorities, not role, but we will pass the role here with the prefix. We'll pass the role here but with the prefix role, with this prefix, and then have this as admin, and then we will also use, let me change this to role with the prefix manager, role with the manager with the prefix role, with the prefix role. Okay, but in this case we will not use the authority, we will use the method role. We have method has role, so let's try to add admin here, admin. So what we have here is does not have a prefix. That is because we just use the prefix when giving the definition, but when using it we will not add this prefix. Okay, now let's try to access the endpoint. Now let's check out to see. So here we are giving the access to the user 1, so we will not get access to the user 2 because we are giving only to the admin. So now let's go and try to access. When I access user 1, so when I access user 1, so we get access to the user 1. Hello. Okay, so now let me log out this user 1 and try user 2. So let me try user 2. Here I have here seal, and then 1 2 3 4. So access denied. Okay, this is in the case of the using roles in the method authority. Okay, so now we also have this method role, but in this case we will not add any prefix, we will just add admin since that we are using the role method. And in this case also we will also pass just manager. Okay, so let's save the changes and try to access, but we will not change the method. So let's go back and try to access with the user 1 1 2 3 4. So we get access to this part. Okay, now let's log out this user, log out. Okay, and when we try to access with user 2, we will not get access. Okay, this is the how the method works, the authority and the role used for the access. And also this method has, this role also has any role here as of the authority. So now the next thing we will do is to implement the Authentication Success Handler and give access to the endpoint based on the authority. Now we need to implement Authentication Success Handler to redirect admin and manager to different URL. So now before doing this, now let's change this to authorities face, and we will also change this to authorities. And to use this with role, we have to prefix, as I said earlier, we have to prefix the role, and the same thing in the case of the manager. So let's prefix the manager with role. Okay, let's save this, and we need to add 2 endpoints for admin and manager. So let's go to the user controller. I will change this to admin, and then let me change this to small letter admin, and then the message will be admin or welcome to admin page. Okay, so I will also change this method to admin in small letters admin. Okay, so let's duplicate this and then add the manager. This will be manager, and we will change this to manager as well. Okay, so we will also change welcome to manager page. Okay, so we will go back to the security configuration class, and then face, we will not call this any request. We have to specify each request that we will use the request matcher. So, and add the endpoint. So here we will add admin, and then we will set this to has role admin. Okay, we are setting this to only the users that has the role admin, and then we also need another request matcher. So we will give this to manager, which is our endpoint manager, and this has role manager. Okay, this is what we have, and the admin will access the admin, and the manager will only access manager as I define here. So let's save these changes, and then now we will create a new and add the package service. Inside this package we will create new class, which is costume authentication Success Handler. Okay, this class will implement Authentication Success Handler. So here is the class, and let me annotate this class with add component so that it can be scanned, and then we need to implement the Authentication Success Handler. Let's add the unimplemented method. We have a single method which is on authentication success. So the first thing we will do is to use this method authentication. We have this class authentication, we use the authentication, and then authentication on this method we have get authorities, which we will use to get the authorities, and let's store this in var roles. Okay, we have these as roles, and we will filter the role using stream pipe and map it to authority. So first let's create another variable like this role. This is a set of role, and this is only a single role will return. Okay, in this case relate at role.stream. Okay, and then we will map this to using the map. Let's add the lambda variable. Here I will just use r as the lambda variable, r dot get authority. Okay, we will get the authority. So the first authority that fit our specification, then we will find it first. Okay, so we find the authority first, we map it to get authority, and then use the find first. Now let's define an if statement. So if, in this case we will use the role dot or else string, and then add this, so that then we will use the equal to check if equals. Here we will pass the admin. The reason we are using this on the role, that is because when we will have this role in form of something like this, admin. Let's change this to capital letter admin. So if I use this role.orelse, it will give me in the form of admin single like this, so that I will compare it with this admin. So if I compare this with this admin, I will get false. So that is why I use or else here, which it will give me something like this. So let me delete this and then continue. Okay, so what will happen if the role is equal to admin? So we will use this class response. We will use the variable of HTTP servlet response. So we will have response dot and we will send redirect. We have this send redirect to, which is we will send it to the admin like this. Okay, and then we will also have else if. So in this case I will copy this and change if equals to manager, okay, then we will also redirect this to the manager. So this will be in small letter and this will be in capital letter. This is our endpoint and this is the admin we define in the authority with the capital letter. And if you like, you can use the small letter, but make sure what you start with, you stick to the first thing you start using, either small letter or capital letter. And then we will also have else if we doesn't have this admin and manager, that is whether it is empty. So we will return, we will send redirect to the arrow. Okay, so let's save these changes and then we will use our class that we just created at AutoAid, which is Custom Authentication Success. Custom Authentication Success Handler. Custom Authentication Success Handler. So this is what we have, and we will add this to this form. We will remove this, and then we have Success Handler. So we will, in the parameter of the Success Handler, we will pass the Custom Authentication Success Handler. Then there is something in the Custom Authentication Success Handler. We will add the prefix role here as well as the admin. So let's add the prefix role. So this is what we have. Let's rerun the application. So the application started. Okay, now first let's check the user one, who is the admin. We will just go to login, and when it finds that it is admin, it will redirect us to the admin page. So let's use the user one. We have user one as Aliyu, then we have 1 2 3 4. So let's check. Okay, we have our implementation working. We have welcome to admin page. Okay, so now let's try to log out and access with the manager. So we have this logout. So we will access with the user 2, which is the manager, 1 2 3 4 as the password. So you see we have the welcome to the manager page. So this is the end of this tutorial. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe our channel for more videos.